All right, good morning, folks. Can't sleep. The Democrats have destroyed America. But let's delve into this a little bit more than just saying the Democrats destroyed America, because a lot of the Democrats have ours after their name. Let's face it, if we made the Democratic Party illegal, you'd still have to triage through the Republican Party to get rid of the chaff, to get rid of the traitors. That's all there is to it. You need to understand this, folks, that the people who have supported the Democratic Party have destroyed America. Now, you're going to say, no, everything's fine. No, it's far from fine. And what do I base this on? Well, I get out there and I travel quite a bit. I meet a lot of people. And the one thing that's astounded me is the number of men older than myself who are going to work, still working, getting hernia jobs, operations, knee operations, whatever it takes, and going back to work in their 70s. We got some really strong men in this country. We've produced some very strong men. I don't think anybody under my age is very strong. Sorry, it's just the way it is. They're going back to work, and most of those guys, believe it or not, are working in the oil fields. A lot of them are working in the oil fields. I mean, we're not talking about office jobs. We're not talking about clean, tidy jobs that are safe and there's no risk involved. We're talking about hard, dirty work that's dangerous as can be. Nobody has any fun out there in those remote areas, handling the muds and the drills and everything else, and running the risk of blowouts and fires and stuff. I mean, it is dirty, dangerous work. There's no two ways about that. One of the things these guys are all telling me is the Biden administration has shut down the oil industry to the point where it cannot be recovered in a reasonable length of time. In other words, even if Trump, your God, was to walk into the Oval Office and take command, he couldn't pull it together in time to defend this nation. They have purposely made the nation defenseless. You got Mayorkas, who the Republicans, 10 Republicans, refused to vote to impeach, who's already brought in 2 or 3 armies into this country. All they need are the weapons, and all they need to be is armed up and set loose, and that's it. And the problem is they're trying to get us stretched out as thin as they can. So they want us in the Ukraine and in the Middle East and in China. Think about that. War on 3 fronts. We've done it. We've never done it before. I don't think we can do it. I don't think we have the oil alone necessary to run that machine. We certainly don't have the industry. We certainly can't keep it up for long. Is it a lost cause? Well, the real problem is you've tolerated it too far. You've let them push you too far. I mean, look at the governors of these states that have allowed the last election to be stolen. And everybody sits there like nothing bad's happened. And the rest of the world laughs at America. That's right, they laugh at us. They laugh at us because we tolerate the bullshit. You're too busy having accolades heaped upon your head to realize what the reality is. Now, I'd like to be able to disagree with those old men, but they're working the fields. I'm not working the fields. I'm not in that business. Those guys have worked it all their lives. I think they know a thing or two. And they're telling me, even if Trump was to walk into office, couldn't get it together in time to defend the nation. Yeah, they purposely did that to you or I. And you think it's okay because it's all about identity politics. That's what the most important thing is. Really? So you got to expose the children to the perversions All in the name of what? What? You're not helping the children, you're traumatizing them. Those men that do that, I'm sorry, folks, but they should pay the price. I'm not sorry, really. Your children are going to be paying the price for the rest of their lives, and it's probably going to affect their grandchildren if they survive. Who's behind the Democratic Party? Well, the big push came out of Connecticut, New York, California, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Georgia. You know, if you're not going to vote legally and properly, your electoral votes should be voided. We're not going to count any of them. That's right. Those electoral votes should have been null and void. We didn't need to throw them one direction or the other direction. We just need to tell them, sorry, take time out. We're not counting your electoral college votes. Oh, it's not enough to give us another president? Fine. We'll have another election till we get there. Heck, we used to not sit anybody in office until March. Can't we wait till March again? Or does it have to be in January? I kind of like March 4th. It was the day for a long time. You failed. You failed to keep a republic. The founders warned you. Ben Franklin says, a republic if you can keep it. Boy, did he know what he was talking about. I think we can pull it together, but it's going to take emergency measures. You need to put me in that White House. I'm sorry, I'd love to see Alaska become totally independent. I'm tired of the lower 48. I'm tired of the federal people and their mismanagement, and they're running roughshod over the people in Alaska. Bunch of tyrants and goons. But Alaska's going to bail your asses out, sadly. Do you deserve it? No, you don't. No, you don't. You put everything off on the backs of other people, especially those guys in the high-tech industry and what they did during this last election cycle and what they're continuing to do. Thank God for our guns. We're going to be using them. We're not going to have any choices in that matter. Not at all. They think they're going to round us up, round the guns up. Well, about that time, I hope men start taking matters into their own hands and start dusting off their old skill sets. Take those long shots. Some of these people aren't right, and they're never going to be right. Take that governor of Arizona, for instance, Katie Hobbs. And take that superintendent, or whatever the hell he was, of elections. His name is what? Bill Gates? Another Bill Gates? That lying son of a bitch? Come on, folks. You need to listen to what they're saying and watch them. That guy lies every time he's on television. He loves being in front of the cameras. I like that, because I can see him lying. Folks, either we aren't going to get away with it, or they aren't going to get away with it. They're holding the upper hand. My God, all we have is Trump to put out there. Nobody else. Nobody's worth much of a damn. I don't like Trump. Trump says he gets in there, we're going to go fight for Israel on all fronts possible. What? What a about America first? Oh, that's right. America first meant you destroy America first. You don't make America great. Only Yahweh makes America great. Yahshua. You got to open your Bibles and read them. You have no choice. If you fail to open them and read them, then you judge yourself unworthy, and you will get your ass nuked. I know, we talk about Sodom and Gomorrah, and all we focus on is the sodomy. That wasn't the main sin. That was a characteristic they were noted for. You want to know about Sodom? You read about it in the book of Jasher, the book of the prophet Jasher. There was no prophet Jasher. It's the book of the upright. So you want to walk upright? You want to be men? The book of Jasher's for you. It's written in the old style, just like the book of Genesis. And it'll tell you what those practices were of those people in those cities, how they entertained their guests. And I think you need to pay attention to that, because their practices were just absolutely wicked. And this crap that goes on in San Francisco, my God, please bring on the big one. Let's wash that whole place out to sea. Let's baptize the hell out of that left coast. Oh, well. I suppose we'll have to depend upon the Soviets. Oh, that's right, they don't exist anymore. The Russians, okay. With what kind of torpedo is that? Taking out the left coast? That would be a blessing right now. All those corporations that set us up for failure, all those dictators out of that state, all those who dictate all of this other bullshit going on, who put money into traitorous actions, treasonous actions, high treason. They undermined the whole country. These people are the destroyers of civilizations. And you will not listen to them or take them at their word. You need to listen to them. They'll tell you the truth about themselves. And the crap is quite universal. So they hide, the bad ones hide among the good ones. And then we got others hiding behind them and others behind them. And if you want to go to the very top of the whole pile, you go over to the Jesuit general and you go over to the banks and you go over to the nobility behind the scenes, called the black nobility. And you go to the nobility that's up front too. What the hell? Why should they get away and get off scot-free when they protected these sons of a bitches in the background they're taking orders from? I would love to waterboard. I've never done it before. I think I should take up a new hobby. Nah. My friend in Indianapolis, he knows I can't do anything like that. Yeah, I know. I can't really do anything like that. All I can do is talk big, I guess. But the fact is, we got big sins. And Yahweh has given us those people to correct us. So, you want to point the finger at them, just like I just pointed them out to you as well. And who's really the real problem here? Who's the real culprit here? It's the same way it worked in the old country. You know, I can't remember that fellow's name that showed up from Assyria. But he said, your God Yahweh sent me because you sinned. And so I'm here to administer justice. And he took them out of the country. And then that fellow representing Nebuchadnezzar shows up outside the walls of Jerusalem speaks in perfect Hebrew, so everybody in the city, everybody in Jerusalem knows what they're facing, and they know what's coming. And he told them, your God, Yahweh, sent me to consecrate you because you violated his laws. You turned your back on your own God, and he sent me. I'm here to do his I'm here as his agent to do his will. Now, I tried to tell you in 149 what I thought was the ultimate sin. Well, we know political correctness precedes it. Okay, that's what I mentioned in the last video. There is another phenomenon that occurs. If you put a woman out, you are not to take her back in. What does that mean? It means basically if you take a woman to wife and you divorce her, you put her out of the house. That's right, back then men kept their houses. They were their houses. You're not allowed to take her back. You can divorce her. It was not preferable. It was not preferred. It wasn't the original design, but it was acceptable and tolerated on the condition you don't take her back in and go into her again. Least because the land will be defiled, and the land will throw you out. I think that's the way it is. I can't quite get the right term in my head right now. Oh, the land shall spew you out. So, reminds me of that lukewarm water in Revelations. Anyway, they divorced their women and they took them back. Now that is what is going on in America today. For quite a while it's been going on. We've been divorcing them and getting back together with them. I don't know if I want to blame the women or I want to blame the men. Doesn't really matter too much to me. You're not supposed to be doing that. It's all joined together. The sin is shared. And in this country, it's universal. That's why you avoid getting together with somebody's divorced, because they have a tendency to slip up with their exes. Yeah. So you don't do that. You need to understand that according to Eastern tradition, yeah, we'll go there a little bit, okay? According to Eastern tradition, if she goes off with another man and comes back to her husband, she shocks her husband with a shock from which he will never recover. It will drive him crazy, insane. Now, what is that shock? Why? It's the electromagnetic force field, the EMF that your own body generates. Because when a woman pairs up and has sex with a man, including the damn one-night stands, which you ladies say doesn't count, you wear that man's auric imprint forever. Even when your soul drifts off from this physical body, you're wearing that forever. It's not just this life, it's eternity. You get to carry that into eternity. Because you have extra capacities given to you for the purposes of motherhood. And unfortunately, you override that. You use it to manipulate for womanly ends, womanly means, and the problem is you drive yourself crazy. Doesn't help us men much either. But we are to blame, probably more so than the women in this matter. And the Bible's really clear, that I don't even want to go there right now. There are other reasons that we were put out. We worshipped other gods and turned our backs on Yahweh. We violated his laws, the law of life. This was called in the apocryphal books, which I rather like that saying, compared to the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments makes you want to break them. But when the law of life is in front of you, it's like, man, I want to live, I want to live the richest life possible. Well, then you abide by those blessings. And all the other suggestions in the Bible that you can mine from it as you read it, and as you learn, and as you grow, and as you mature in the Logos, the law, the Word. The Father, the Word, and the Holy Ghost. If there's a Holy Trinity, that's the only one I read about in the Bible. And you telling me that in the middle is Jesus Christ. Yahshua was the Word. That's what it says in the book of John. Read it. In the beginning was the Word. Yahshua, the Messiah, was in the beginning. He was the law. He's also the force field holding this neck of the universe together. As far as I can tell, it's all being held together by him. Electromagnetic force, the toroidal motor engine of his heart. That force field he puts off pulls it all together. I know. You think I'm a nut, and I don't know what I'm talking about, and I haven't seen anything, I haven't experienced anything, and to a large extent, I guess you're right. But I've seen things, and I'm not denying them anymore. There's no reason to deny them. Yes, I've questioned myself, I've questioned everything. But the fact is, this universe is held together through the body of Christ. Now, don't expect me to explain the mystery to you. All I can do is take you to another level, and that's as far as I go. Now, maybe I'll learn some more and share that with you as well. Maybe one of you youngsters out there will take this stuff and get into the Bible and go with it and open it up even more. The earth groans for her saviors. The problem is this political morass we're in, this trap we are in, is not a constitutional republic at all. There's no republic anymore. The Constitution, why should anybody take an oath of office when it's not enforced? It's not enforced. They take the oath of office and they violate it, every one of them. And you let that go by the wayside. Oh well, you lose your Constitution. You lose your nation. You lose your country. You lose your very lives. Of course, they've taken most of your property. They took the money away from you a while ago. You don't have any of that anymore. Talk about wealth in the country. It's all a Ponzi scheme. They want so much for a roll of dimes right now, it's not funny. The open market, these guys want $4 a coin. $4 for a dime? And the price of silver is what, $22, $26? And so they really want $40, is what they're saying. That's not even a full ounce of silver. So $4 a dime, what's that, $44 for an ounce? Man, I sold my silver too cheap. But I'm glad I cashed in. Glad I got my new digs to work on. I just hope I have enough money and I get enough coming in to finish the project. These things have a habit of drawing their own legs, and they get kind of hard to manage, so I got to go slowly, even though I want it all. I want it all at once. Sense of delayed gratification. America, you are going to have to do some forgiving, including of yourself, and you're going to have to develop a sense of delayed gratification. What's important? Well, why don't you start off with having some gratitude? I mean, you ate today, did you not? Okay. You got clean clothes on? Well, maybe you don't. Okay, but you got clothes? All right, well, that's a step in the right direction. Get them cleaned. You had yourself a shower today? Oh, you've wasted your share of water today, precious water. Well, bless you. It's hard to have faith in any of these institutions in this country anymore. They're all controlled. They've always been centrally controlled. You've only had the illusion of freedom. You've only had the idea of America. I'm wondering if America ever existed at this point. You all are too busy worrying about the United States corporation. I think we ought to call this America, and if you want to be Americans, then you have to become citizens of your states, not citizens of the corporation. I need you to understand that my understanding is limited. You have got your own perspective. You have your own domains that you've mastered. You know more about those than I'm ever going to know. But you need to start chipping in. You like the video, you share it with people special to you, and maybe even you tell them about it before you send it to them. So they aren't too shocked, and they aren't too, well, and you won't be embarrassed. I'm trying to give you flexibility in your thinking so that you can actually face what's coming here in the immediate future, because they're going to do the best to shock you. They are going to bring forward an overwhelming amount of truth and facts all at one time with the idea that you can't handle the truth. And it's going to be that wild. It's going to be a real Nantucket sleigh ride. You're going to be hooked into that doggone beast, that whale, and it's going to take you for a ride on the open seas, out to big waters. So you better get ready for it. You really need to get ready for it. Oh, I miss fishing. I love it. It was a lot of fun with my father. It was nice when it just was the two of us out in the boat. I think we fished for 5 weeks straight one summer. I had just graduated and just moved back home. Man. That was one of the last years you could actually catch some fish. Now they let you catch 2 of them in the season if you're lucky. Heck, back then, I think the limit was 5. And you had to write it in ink on the back of your license. Man, I never knew ink was that erasable. Those guys were wearing the damn licenses out, rubbing the damn stuff off there. They destroyed the Kenai River. They planted red salmon on it. They didn't ask the locals or the people. I think they should have maintained that as a king salmon fishery, period. All priority to the king salmon, because it was the world's best river for king salmon. But no, they had to go develop it for red salmon, which is a good meat. It's a good salmon. It's a good quality fish. It's higher quality fish than the king salmon is, but it's nowhere near as fun, nowhere near as majestic. It doesn't require any near as much skill and patience, and fortitude. We weren't asked. The state did that to us. And then the federal people helped us with our fisheries. Got it down to the point where we could only catch 2 halibut a day. You could throw 1 back, but you could only take 2 out. Okay. Then they had to be certain lengths. Okay. And they failed to tell us about the big ones. They failed to tell us that your big ones that you're catching, those trophy-sized ones, are all hens. They're all egg layers. They should have told us they're all hens, they're egg layers, and if they're over 6 feet long, you gotta let them go. Would have been the best thing to do. Anything over 6 feet ain't worth the meat anyway. It's kind of old and coarse and tough. Let the hens go. Keep that population up. And sadly, we used to be crabbing before the Exxon Valdez, and I never did get a settlement check off that because I'm a pasty old white guy. You know, the natives got the preferences on everything when it comes to that. Yeah, they're racist as can be. But then again, I know my place. I'm a member of the servant race. Yeah, that's when we do best. Serving others. It's not that bad. Some of our lives get lengthened through that. My buddy Wayne, his life was actually lengthened by doing that, I believe. He was sick. He had to take care of his wife. He was dedicated. He was old school. He set examples. He set examples that were just outstanding examples. Of course, he really loved his wife, and she really loved him. And he took care of her for 5 years. Felt more like 10 years to me, because I was in the background always checking on him, trying to make sure he was okay. And I'll be darned if he didn't give out just after putting his wife into hospice, and he passed first. He had been sick evidently for quite a while. Nobody knew it. No, it was his will to serve and take care of his wife that kept him going, I think. I don't know. But that's my guess. You know, everything happens for a reason. Let's get right with Yahweh, with Yeshua. Let's return to our roots. You need to realize that part of the blessings given the Israelites were that any land we put our feet upon was our territory. That was the entire Saudi Peninsula, not just half of it like they have on the modern maps today claiming, oh, Israel's supposed to be this big. No, man, that's not it. We have our footprints down all over that peninsula. And we have them here in North America, too. It's our land. The oldest, well, I don't really know the full truth anymore, to be honest with you. But we found 2 Caucasoid skeletons, 25,000 year dates on them. And they were in South America. Okay, that's like 2 Earth ages ago. Got that? So, what were Caucasians doing in the Americas 2 Earth ages ago? Who really was here first? Does that matter? Remember, we were placed here last. We were put here for a purpose, and that was to serve, to rule with to rule with God, not against God, not for God, but with God, for the purposes of managing the whole planet, for all of its inhabitants, all of its species, all of the richness and the glory. And I know you hear there's not enough land. I got news for you. There's plenty of land, and there's more coming. It says so in the book of Revelations. I looked out, and the sea was no more. The sea was gone. The earth goes through different periods. So we know darn well what's coming in the future is going to be a bunch of landlocked ice. And those ocean bottoms are going to be very revealing. We're going to get access to them again. We're going to see what's down on those ocean floors. All those past civilizations, especially out in the Pacific Ocean, yeah, those are going to become available to us. The ones in the Mediterranean, all those places, the ones off the coast of Japan, the ones off the coast of Florida, all that stuff's going to be exposed in the near future. Well, as I read it, that's a possibility. You need to be flexible in your thinking. You need to be able to adopt new perspectives. You need to stay young in your mind and young at heart. Remember Caleb. Caleb in his 80s went back to the promised land and says, "Give me this land. That's my inheritance," where the giants were. He didn't want the regular people's land. He wanted to take down the giants and take their land. Caleb, wow, must have been quite a dude. He survived the 40 years in the desert due to the disobedience of the other Israelites. Caleb was one of the 2 spies. He met Rahab. She hid him along with well, I don't know who the other one was, honestly. I think it was Joshua. Yeah. To go look that up and read it again. This is number 150, and my message to you is very simple. The Democrats, with a lot of help, destroyed America. And you're stuck with the United States now, like it or not. Or are you? I think you can take legal action. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to espouse anything here. There's some areas I don't go. You need to do your own research. I'm working on it for myself. And I know damn well that those people that help the public to do such matters are rather frowned upon, not looked upon favorably. Me, I just want my country back. I want the republic restored. I want my proper citizenship restored. I want my estate restored. Those will be my wages if I get this nation back. I have some faith. Mom used to say my middle initial should be G for gullible. Maybe it should be C for Caleb. Yeah. The Israelites are not lost, except to themselves. You want to know what an Israelite looks like? Go look in the mirror. The odds are you're full Israelite, or at least mostly Israelite. And when you walk down the road and you see men of other persuasions, you got to remember, you don't know what you're looking at. You could be looking at somebody who's part Israelite and not realize it at all. What color are the eyes? Oh, okay. Blue eyes? Oh, wow, okay. Okay, there's other characteristics too, which of course make us a bunch of racists, right? So, but what I'm getting at is that you don't know what you're dealing with. You could be looking at an angel at work in his proper estate on a mission. You wouldn't know it. Or you could be looking at one of the devil's children. You wouldn't know it. Or you could be looking at a mix. One of the devil's children with one of the other species on the planet. You need to open up your mind and be flexible. Our concepts of race and species are all screwed up. Nobody's got it fully right, which is kind of nice that everybody's wrong. But I can't even say I'm right and everybody's wrong on that one because I'm still learning that one myself. I can't keep picking up the book and staying with it. I got too many other important projects I have to take care of. So do yourself a favor. like the video, tell people about it. Don't just send it around and post it, but tell people about it first. Get them a little soft before you shock them with my presence. And get them used to the idea that, if you listen to these associations, these words, and you follow what's between the lines and all that, you are going to get blessed. That's all there is to it. Well, thank you for blessing me and tuning in once more. This is number 150. The Democrats, with a lot of help, have destroyed America. Not the United States, not the corporation. They have totally enslaved America right now. Yeah, the 14th Amendment made slaves out of us all. And they give us this phony money because that's all we deserve. Yahweh bless.